Austria as a place to be based out of?
Basically, I'd travelled around a bit around Europe, and that was one of the places that I ended up. And I just sort of made a lot of friends there who were also in bands, and I was sort of trying to be in bands and stuff at the time, making music, and I just felt like there was a sort of sense of community there which I didn't have in London. And I was very tired of London because I lived there my whole life. I realised afterwards what it changed in me was that because it wasn't my nature, like my mother tongue, it slowed down a lot of things in me, which was really good because I was a bit too kind of ridiculously hyperactive at one point. Each life that we take blows holes into the wall.
Austrians sometimes seem to be, this is stereotypical Austrians, but in Austria there's a lot of people who seem to be like more extreme. Don't you agree? Like people just tend to go like, oh, I'm dyeing my hair like full orange, bright orange, and be like, woo, I'm so extreme. You know?
I don't know. I think it depends where you go. Like in places like, I don't know, more like the sort of university towns like Graz and Linz and stuff maybe. But in Vienna, I think it's quite balanced now. It's quite, there's like Vienna is like all graphic designers. Everyone's a graphic designer, it seems like. And if they're not a graphic designer, they're a musician. And I don't know what that means, but it's just still kind of true. Like, there's millions of graphic designers everywhere.
So there's no excuse not to have a cool record cover or something.
Exactly, yeah.
Do you use video in your shows and stuff?
We don't use visuals at all. Mainly because I've got a really great lighting engineer. We've created a sort of light concept show, which is really important that there's not this big thing behind you distracting you. It's all about sort of the mood of the three people on stage and what you do see and what you don't see at certain times in the show. So we actually, coming to a festival and seeing a few acts the last couple of nights, I've been standing there next to my light engineer saying to her, like, visuals, man, they just get in the way. And she was just saying, I'm so glad you don't want visuals, because for her it's like that takes away half of her possibilities actually.
That's kind of like moving to the land of chocolate and not having any chocolate.
Yeah.
You think that your music is like there's an expansion in containment? It's like it feels very contained,
It is kind of by accident. What it was for me was that it was important to keep it kind of compact, but at the same time there's a lot of space in it. So I was very conscious of not putting in too many elements that will distract from the point of what's being done, and particularly give space to the vocals, which for me is really important in music. So. Yeah, it's like this, it feels to me like it's a headphone album,
You have a song called Lessons. Are these lessons to be learned or to be taught?
They were lessons learned, for sure. They were more like, actually it was kind of, that track in particular was more of like a mantra to myself to stop making the same mistakes over and over again. So I guess what I did was lyrically, by accident, wrote that I would never do these things again, even though I was telling myself not to do them again, actually.
So, have you?
No.
Good.
No, it worked. It worked.
Another song called Blood Flows. Does the blood flow with water or by itself? It seems very, very, very watery. I mean,
yeah, it was.
You mentioned water in the lyrics, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it was a sort of song. It was about words. It was about words triggering like the opening of a wound, basically, and triggering the opening of a wound. But you know that it will do it, but you still go back to those words. It was actually about listening to other song lyrics, which trigger a memory which hurt you again, like bring back a memory which you don't want.
Sounds very painful.
No, I mean it was about wanting to feel that thing again, even if it was a thing which ended up badly. you know, like when you keep sort of touching a wound over and over and over because you want to feel if it still hurts. It's like it was about that.
What are you the Sohn of? Apart from your parents, obviously.
Yeah, myself.
Yes.
Myself. That was the important thing when I chose the name. Was that I wanted to be able to draw a line under the me which I had been before this, and say, okay, this is a new person from this moment forward, from the moment that I wrote the first Sohn track. And it's not the me that it was before. It's like the son of me. It's got the experiences that have been passed down, as if your father has told you, listen, don't do this, don't do this, don't make this mistake. But you're still totally fresh. So that was why I chose the name. Yeah.
Okay, so you're the offspring of yourself.
Yeah, basically.
Even though offspring was taken. So.
Yeah.